Welcome back to the Haunted Huddle over coffee. I'm Lauren.
I'm Nex.
And I'm T.
We're going to be talking today about the legend of Lake Ronkonkoma. There is actually two pretty big legends that go around Lake Ronkonkoma. We're going to be talking more about one of them than the other. So one of them is that Lake Ronkonkoma is bottomless, but the other one is about the Native American princess who drowns a victim every single year. Wahaha. So people who don't know, Lake Ronkonkoma is a glacier, something called a kettle lake. And a kettle lake is a lake that's made by a big chunk of ice that's left behind. And since Long Island was made by a glacier, it's kind of cool. Like, there's a lot of legends and stuff, so it's kind of cool. One really cool thing about Lake Ronkonkoma is it's a glacier lake, so literally just like a rock got stuck, got pushed down, and then a big chunk of like glacier just got left there. But that water is far by anything but clean or sanitary at this point, because God only knows how long the lake has been there. Okay. Goddamn long.
It's 10,000 years old.
It is haunted, though. You can't convince me anything other, and after listening to this story about it, there is no way you could ever convince me in my life that Lake Ronkonkoma is not haunted. Plus, I've been around...
the girl who literally said, I love going by the lake. I'm like, no.
I do love going by Lake Ronkonkoma. It's my comfort place. Go there, take my little portable hammock, take it, latch it onto the two trees. It is safe. I am not drilling holes into the trees. Literally just taking like my little like self-retention straps, putting them on, pop it into the hammock. It's a great old time. But besides the legend about the lake being bottomless, which has been debunked, so just gonna put that out there, we're gonna talk about Princess Ronkonkoma. She is a Native American princess who died in the mid-1600s. There's a couple of versions of this story, but the most well-known version is that Lake Ronkonkoma freezes over every year, at least before, global warming. And that she walks across the ice one winter and she fell in love with this English woodcutter named Hugh Birdstall, who lived across the lake. However, her father, the chief of the Setauket tribe, forbid the relationship, but for every single day for 7 years, she would write love notes on pieces of bark, and she would row out to the middle of the lake and let them float to the other side of the lake. After all these years of being kept apart from each other, she decided she had enough. She went into the middle of the lake and stabbed herself to death in the middle of the lake. So, a little dramatic, but...
But Daddy, I love him.
Literally, but Daddy!
Okay, that...
You didn't need to just stop at the but Daddy entertainment. Fuck, you're not even charging for this.
Come on, but if you're watching The Little Mermaid Disney, do not sue me. But come on, when she's like, but Daddy, I love him, and he's like, love? You don't know what that is. And everyone,
he right, though.
he is right. It's like, sweetheart, Ariel was not, King Triton was not being unreasonable. He lives on an island. He's literally eating your friends. No. But I digress.
You can't tell me that mermaids only live off of, fucking sea vegetation. I refuse to
kelp?
hear it. Yes.
They have kelp snacks.
It's not the only thing they're eating. Anyway, we digress. Carrying on with the fucking lake before we start this tangent.
Next time on the Haunted Huddle,
mermaid diets.
Mermaid diets and the scary origins of Walt Disney. That actually sounds like a good idea, like all the origin stories of Disney.
Oh, Christ.
Ooh, that's coming soon.
The version she turns into sea foam.
Yes, and that she has her voice, but every time she steps, it feels like she's walking on broken glass.
The more we talk about it, the less it's gonna have to be done.
All right. Moving on, the other variation of this story is that she had heard through, a person of a person that he died, Hugh died. He's gone. So she went into the middle of the lake and she drowned herself. And that her body washed up into Connecticut, which brings us all back to the idea of the lake is bottomless and there's channels to other lakes and to the sound and to rivers and all this other stuff. The only thing is, there is no proof that Princess Ronkonkoma ever existed. But Hugh was a real person. Hugh Birdstall was a real guy, really did live on the other side of the lake, kind of like anybody who's familiar with Lake Ronkonkoma or Long Island. They lived more on the side of the lake where the airport is, not the side of the mall. So, I'm going to put it that way. So, even though there was no proof that that she ever existed, there is proof that he decided he didn't want to live on Long Island anymore, and he moved back to England and did get married. But the legend has it that every year, Princess Ronkonkoma is going to claim the life of a young boy to avenge her lover's death or to try to find herself a soulmate in death. But the scariest part about this is that the statistics actually back up this so-called curse, with all of the recordings, with most of the recordings of like these drownings actually being young males. Dun dun dun.
So I have a thought.
Yes, ma'am.
This might sound like a conspiracy theorist, but the conspiracy might be because of the lake. Like, what if the lake was lonely and just manifested this figment of a person because it was lonely? And the only person that could see this figment was the dude.
The Birdsall guy, Hugh?
Yes.
That is definitely out there.
No, wild theory, but like, it's a theory.
I mean, it's not that wild of a theory because in many folklores, obviously not necessarily native to America, but in many folklores, there are like nature entities that would take likings to humans.
The djinn.
That's not a nature entity.
Still, you know what I mean?
She's never gonna let go of the fucking djinn.
No.
It's like you and the goddamn aliens.
Look, aliens are not a theory for this one, though, T, okay?
It could have been a flying saucer at the bottom of the lake.
What?
You know.
No! It's too polluted. The aliens don't want to be in there. The fish literally glow.
What if they tried to fix the lake?
They're doing a shitty-ass job.
They've been trying to fix the lake since I was, like, 9 years old. They've been trying to dump in, like, freshwater clams and mussels and all these kinds of things. That lake has so much E. coli. It doesn't just have E, it's got E through Z. It's got too many of the colis in there, okay?
Z. coli.
Z. coli. But, which is really cool, no, well, not cool, it's kind of scary, is, so Dr. Essengary, David Essengary, was a lifeguard at Lake Ronkonkoma for a lot of summers. For about, it looks like 30 summers that he was a lifeguard. And during the time that he was there, all the drownings that happened were all young males. He said one of the biggest challenges it was being a lifeguard there is that the visibility in the lake was pretty much non-existent after you went about 10 feet down. Everything, when you go deeper than that, everything just turns into, like, total blackness. And, like, the lake is deep. They do have an exact depth of how deep it is. It's about 70 feet deep, which that's pretty deep for a lake. But he also does say that in 1965, he just kept having this reoccurring nightmare of over and over and over again of him trying to complete this rescue, where he would dive really deep into the lake, and then he panicked because he lost, like, where he was going, and he would pop up to the surface and he would see fireworks. And he was never really into the paranormal. He was 100% like a skeptic. But he was 100% convinced there was going to be a drowning on the 4th of July. He was like dead set on it. He kept telling everybody, hey, there's going to be a drowning. There's going to be a drowning. So he told like his entire staff, there was like 11 lifeguards, which is a lot for Lake Ronkonkoma. Like, I'm sorry. It's a big lake, but it's a tiny lake. Like, you don't need 11 lifeguards. Just
tiny beach.
It is a tiny, well, yeah, it's a tiny beach. But there's also the other side. The side that it happened on is the beach side, the side that's closer towards the airport. So there was this 15-year-old boy who's out there, he's swimming, and has a seizure while he's swimming, and drops down into the lake. And the lifeguards were looking for him for 45 minutes, and they couldn't find him. And then David, our Dr. Essengary, is still looking for the boy 45 minutes later, swimming down as deep as he can, can't find the boy anywhere. And when he goes up for the very last time, right when he gives up finding the boy, all the fireworks started going off at the 4th of July. Now, I don't know if that was like for, I don't know, what's the word, like storytelling, but he swears that's the way it happened. But that I just find to be absolutely bonkers. Like, you're like, oh yeah, this is totally going to happen on the 4th of July, 4th of July. I'm having this nightmare, I'm having this dream, and then it happens. Like, granted, I'm all for, like, self-fulfilling, like, prophecies and self-fulfilling, like, dreams and stuff, but this one just seems a little too convenient, personally. But one cool thing about Lake Ronkonkoma, this I found really cool, and I would love to have them on. I'm going to be sending them this, hopefully, and they could come on and talk with us, because that'd be fun, is the Long Island Paranormal Investigators Group took extremely special, like, part in this case, because their group is based in Ronkonkoma, which is pretty nifty. But they've been investigating a lot of urban legends in homes and businesses for science of the paranormal activities over, like, the last 7 years, using, like, Geiger counters, thermal cameras, motion sensors, wind meters, voltage meters, and ion counters. Their investigations have been very inconclusive, is one of the quotes from one of the people who work with them. Robert Levine, who uses the electromagnetic meters, so the EMFs, to, like, see, like, what might be there, because usually those EMFs are going to go off higher, they say, when there's spirit activity or, you know, some sort of, like, presence. And they said that the readings would go kind of on and off. They don't know if it's coming from, like, nearby buried electrical lines or homes nearby or another business, or if it's, you know, a spirit.
Now, where is this investigation? Like, is this reports of what they were doing at the lake?
Yes, just seeing if it is haunted. Like, Lake Ronkonkoma is creepy. It's beautiful, though. It is a beautiful, creepy little lake. But there is so much stuff about this. Like, this is just about them being around the lake, because they say it's very paranormal, that you'll see things and hear things. Like, I'll go out and walk around the lake at night because, well, I like walking around the lake at night. I find it comforting. But, you'll hear things, and you'll definitely see things, like, out of the corners of your eye, and the lake is already, like, weird, but you will definitely hear and see things when you're down there.
As somebody who lives on the island, that is literally the whole fucking island.
It's literally just a Native American, like, tribal ground. All of Long Island, all of America, let's be honest, but Long Island, definitely 100% just Native American land, 1,000%. There's nowhere you can go on Long Island that you're not going to find proof of Native Americans that were here. Just the towns alone. Quag, Cutchog, Hopog, Patchog. It's all of those very Native American names, because that's, like, all we really kept, sadly, of Native American culture here on Long Island, which is
This
sad.
whole little island is practically stolen.
Yeah, but I do have a little bit more on everything. Right here.
Oh.
Another story comes from Michael R. Edert. I'm probably butchering your name, so I do apologize. Who is considered to be the foremost authority on the legends of Lake Ronkonkoma. He published a spiral-bound book called The Curse of Lake Ronkonkoma back in 2002. It is available in Smithtown, Sachem, and Smithtown, Sachem, and Three Village libraries on Long Island about this curse and about, like, what he did. When he attended Ronkonkoma Junior High in the early 1990s, one of his classmates drowned in the lake. And he said, quote, "If I remember correctly, him and some friends were drinking beer on a boat, and they were horsing around, and one of his friends had fallen into the water and was unable to swim to shore due to the fact that he was wearing all of his bulky winter clothes. At his graduation, he searched for more information about the lake's history, and he looked in the history books to write one of his own. He then spent the next 6 months visiting libraries and the Lake Ronkonkoma Historical Society to research articles, maps, geographical studies dating back to the early 1900s, in addition to stories about Princess Ronkonkoma and the bottomless lake. He also found several other mysteries about the way the lake rises and falls in no relation to rainfall. That's one thing I definitely know. Like, Lake Ronkonkoma will rise like 6 feet out of nowhere. Like, doesn't matter with the tides, with the moons, about rainfall. During COVID, I would go down to Lake Ronkonkoma every single day, and there'd be days where at the top of the staircase that you would go go down the steps to where the water normally is, it would be all the way up to that top step, and it was like a good like 6-7 foot like staircase. And there, like 2 days later, it would be down on the ground, and you would have to like walk onto the sand to get to the water. So that lake does rise and fall with almost no explanation. Like, they also saw that like there was a time where they believed it was the great work of Manitos. This is a god. I am probably butchering this, but it is Manitos, or better known as the Great Spirit of the Lake. That it showed that over 7 years in the early 1900s, the rainfall was way below average on Long Island for it being only 52 inches, but yet the lake kept rising over 7 feet and higher. And like I said, that staircase, it goes all the way up. So, like, that's already, like, little bonkers. And then there was this guy from Brooklyn. This is, like, one of the last little stories about the lake before we get a little bit more into the princess. Who was coming to Long Island and taking water and selling it to people, telling them that it had healing properties, that it would make their health be, like, perfect and preserved. And he was trying to sell Lake Ronkonkoma pretty much as a health resort to try to get people to, like, you know, come back or cure their diseases or get them to know about Lake Ronkonkoma. Like, it's a little bonkers. Like, I don't understand why you would think that Lake Ronkonkoma has healing properties, especially nowadays where you can't swim in it because of how disgustingly, like, diseased it's full of.
The bacteria is good for you.
Not that much bacteria. Are you kidding me? You're gonna swim in that lake? Have you ever seen the Lorax? And the little kid's like, just went swimming and now I glow. No, you're not gonna glow. You're gonna grow hair and a tail and you're gonna die.
So this just, the whole, like, Ronkonkoma, rising and falling, it just confirms my theory about it being a living entity.
I thought you were going to say, it confirms my theory about aliens.
See? I'm going to keep you on your toes now. Is it going to be aliens or is it going to be something else? You'll never know.
That's something. Well, listen, if you want to talk about aliens on Long Island, we'll talk about Montauk. Montauk, you'll see UFOs out there all the time.
Fucking Montauk monsters, goddamn alien.
Next time I come out, we are going to Montauk, and I will sit there, and I will show a sign going, please abduct me off this horrible planet. I am ready to be taken.
We do have a small little bungalow that we get to stay at a lot in Montauk. I could probably arrange for us all just, like, be out of Montauk for that.
That's fine. That's all up to you.
Yes, because I will write a sign out, and I will just be like, I am ready. I am primed.
And I have a stargazing permit. We can go out to the lighthouse, too.
Oh, goodness.
But one thing I do find is really creepy is most of these drownings that happen at Lake Ronkonkoma have all been younger males. Between the ages of 11 to about 27, about 90% of them have been male.
I'm sorry, what?
So about 90% of the drownings that have happened in Lake Ronkonkoma, and there is one that happens every single year because somebody always goes out to the lake and somebody always goes swimming in the lake, even though you shouldn't swim in that lake, that most of the people that drown in that lake are younger males. They're usually between the ages of 11 to around, like, late 20s. But 90% of the people that drowned in that lake have been male.
So the lake is straight.
Mostly.
I don't know.
Got a little bi-curious, I guess.
Maybe a little. Oh, God. No, but if you're around Lake Ronkonkoma, the Princess and the Lady of the Lake, she is a very prominent part of this area. Lake Grove, Lake Ronkonkoma area. They have her painted on the side of the deli, over right by the lake. There's actually somebody carved her out of a tree that she stands on top of holding a duck. It's a duck or a loon. I can't really tell.
I think it's a duck.
Yeah. That she actually overlooks the lake and she can always see over it even during the summer when like all the leaves are in bloom.
It was meant to be as a peace offering to avoid any more drownings. And you want to know what's funny? Nobody drowned last year.
Nobody drowned in the lake last year?
Nobody drowned last year. At least nothing that was reported.
I think that's when it was finished, too, because the guy got really bored during COVID. He's the wood carver. He's always got cool stuff in his yard.
No, they got another guy to finish that.
They did get another guy to finish it.
There was a completely different guy. So literally right next to the statue, if anybody is local to Long Island in this area, you know exactly what we're fucking talking about. There was a local wood carver. He has since recently moved. But he used to have all of these awesome carvings in his yard, and they had commissioned him to carve the Lady of the Lake in what was essentially just a residue of a tree stump. They like cut everything else down, and they wanted to make a statue of her as some kind of offering to, you know, maybe not kill anybody.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing it's working that where people just aren't swimming in the lake at all because, well, I love you, Lake Ronkonkoma, but you're nasty. You're dirty.
I don't love Lake Ronkonkoma, so it's nasty.
I mean, what if, like, the next way of, you know, people dying by the lake is they get E. coli and, like, a really bad bout of E. coli, and then they die, and then the lake still killed them?
No, but the thing is, like, people will drown in this lake. Like, just straight up drown. And it's been, like, a lot of crazy stuff. It's like, they drowned and then their body wasn't found. Like, the bodies just disappeared, like, which makes sense because even back, like, 50 years ago, they're saying back in, where was he? What year was it? Essingary. Yeah, like, early 1900s. We're talking, like, 1950. So, that's a long time ago. Back then, he even said, like, after swimming down, like, 10 feet, everything was just pitch black. And that's back when the lake was clean. And not gross and dirty. But
quote,
it is
clean.
But the lake is still, like, a hot spot. Like, people get married all around Lake Ronkonkoma all the time. There's a couple of wedding venues over there. The historical societies over there. There's actually a lot of houses, like, based, like, right on the lake. Like, I grew up, like, looking at the lake every morning. In my little house.
I don't know if I'd want, like, lakefront property of a polluted lake that can't even be cleaned.
Well, back when I lived in there, this is, like, going back, like, over 20 years ago as I'm aging myself. It was clean. I remember being little and swimming in Lake Ronkonkoma when I was a kid. I remember that was always a lot of fun, swimming in Lake Ronkonkoma. I loved that. But I also remember when I was younger that we used to go ice skating on Lake Ronkonkoma. Lake Ronkonkoma used to freeze over so thickly that you could go ice skating on it. People used to skate back and forth. They would have races. They would start on the side of the beach and they would try to race across to go towards where the 7-Eleven is. Go race there and back. It used to be a huge thing. People used to go on like their little tiny sleds and they used to get pulled around on the lake. But sadly, with it being polluted and it being, well, Lake Ronkonkoma being the way it is now, it sadly is not able to do that because, well, global warming sucks and the lake just doesn't freeze over anymore.
It's okay. Donnie and I had that conversation earlier because I was mentioning that people here are sick of the snow, but like Donnie's like, it used to snow here all the time. I live in Maryland. You wouldn't really think it would snow a lot here, but he was like, no, it used to like snow here every year. And because of global, climate change, let's use a proper terminology, climate change, it don't happen that way anymore.
Yeah, which is sad. Like, here up on Long Island, we haven't been getting a lot of snow either. We got, like, a dust, and we got, like, an inch of snow. And that was, like, 3 days ago, not even 2, and it's gone now. Who am I talking about? It was yesterday. It was on Monday it was snowing.
I was going to say, what are you on about?
Listen, all my days have merged together. Like, they're all just mushing together. But that's just the way it is. That's the way the cookie's been crumbling.
Look, so, I'm further south than y'all, obviously. And we got so much fucking snow yesterday that they're just now, like, scraping the roads free of ice and, like, excess snow because people were trying to, like, get out, right? And then Friday afternoon, like, as soon as I logged off from work, we had a squall snowstorm. And they called it thunder snow because it was thundering while it was snowing. And I've never had that experience before. That was a very unique experience.
That sounds like a great name for a rock band. Thunder Snow.
Thunder snow.
Just Thunder Snow performing tonight at MSG Garden. Sold out show.
MSG Garden?
MSG, wow, MSG Garden is a garden. Madison Square Garden, that was the most intelligent thing I've said all day today.
Oh, I thought it was like just a garden where there's a lot of Chinese restaurants around it.
Wait, we're talking about Long Island now again? What? Listen, every single strip mall on Long Island has three things.
Where are you?
Hiding. Everything on Long Island, every strip mall on Long Island has three things. A pizza restaurant, Chinese food, a nail salon, and a liquor store. And if they don't have a nail salon or a liquor store, they have a pizzeria. That was super intelligent. They have a pizzeria or they have a convenience store, like one of those card shops, like the 50% off card stores. Can't prove me wrong on that.
I hate how we were talking about Chinese food, and I'm like, I really want Chinese food now. Like, I want wild ginger, but they're not fucking open.
I went to Taco Bell today, and I was like, hey, you want to go to Taco Bell with me? So I asked my one brother, he goes, yeah, I want to go to Taco Bell. And then I asked my other brother, hey, do you want to go to Taco Bell? He's like, yeah, I want to go to Taco Bell. So I go downstairs to my mom, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to Taco Bell and get some Fiesta potatoes because I want some Fiesta potatoes. She's like, ooh, can you get me 2 chicken quesadillas with no jalapeno sauce and guacamole and sour cream? I'm like, yeah, not a problem. Then my dad comes home, like, hey, Dad, do you want anything? He goes, nah. And then I'm almost ready. He goes, actually, could you get me 4 Doritos tacos and a Mexican pizza? And I'm like, sure. So there I am. I'm at Taco Bell. I'm the only person in line. I'm like, ooh, this is great. This never happens. And then I'm giving my order, and I'm watching it, and then there's a line, and a bigger line, and a bigger line. And because our Taco Bell only has the one window, I have to now sit there and wait while they make, like, enough food for, like, 15 people, even though it's just, like, 4 of us in the house. And I'm just sitting there like, hi, how you doing? Sorry.
Hi.
I mean, Mom, I can...
the problem
is me. Love you, Tay-Tay. But meanwhile, I see the line now starting to creep up, and there's now people who are blocking the exit to the drive-thru because of how much it's now backed up.
So you are the person I can always blame when that shit happens, and I want Taco Bell.
Listen, I've been having just a big Taco Bell craving, like, the last couple days. Just, like, Fiesta potatoes and the Cantina quesadilla. Oh, my gosh, with the Baja Blast and some of those cinnamon delights.
I've just been craving Chinese food, and now I want it even more because we were talking about it. I'm violent.
Well, just go to the nearest strip mall by your house, and you'll find a Chinese place.
What strip mall is by my house?
The one with the CVS, the one with the bagel shop, the one with the Chinese place right across.
That bagel shop is a good shop.
Yeah, the Chinese face is absolutely dog shit.
Yeah,
I
that not good.
hate that place. And the owner is nasty. I'm sorry, we're getting off topic.
Well, there's a place right down the road from you that has the dry cleaners, the senior taco, the hair salon, and the Chinese place.
They're not fucking open. It's 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, good point. We could go to the 24-hour bagel place in Smithtown.
No, I want Chinese.
Bagels are no good here. Give me your Chinese.
I have bagels. What is Wow Bao?
It's like Chinese buns. That's like little, like, it's kind of like a bread like consistency, but then it's like filled with like pork.
It's the name of a restaurant. I know what.
Yeah, that's all they sell is
no,
bao
it's not.
That's it's one of those restaurants that's in another restaurant.
Nah, I'm taking a fucking picture because you are incorrect. It's not what I'm looking at. They're serving literally everything else under the sun.
But I am totally down for that. But Lake Ronkonkoma, I definitely think 1000% it has to be haunted. There is nothing you can tell me that will, bring me differently.
I would just say it. That's why you only go for the bao buns. The bao buns are the only good things.
Then I don't want a goddamn thing from it. Nothing that I know is open.
Picks you up, gets you Chinese, kidnaps you, brings you back to my house, and then sacrifices you to the aliens.
That sounds good.
Okay. How dare? That's my dream.
Okay. Well, wait. We'll make the setup for the sacrifice, and we'll wait till T gets here.
All right, so we'll see you at 2 o'clock in the morning. Sound good?
Yeah, what time is it out? 9? Yeah. I'll just tell Mary, I gotta go.
Bye.
I'll tell
Bye.
my coworker I need to go.
Just be like, sorry guys. I have an important date
With the aliens.
with the aliens.
All right, so I think that pretty much wraps up the Legends of Lake Ronkonkoma and what I have on the situation. Does anybody have anything they want to add or talk about?
I still think it's a living entity.
Well, it's Manitou, so maybe we might want to look up some more stuff about him and talk about him a little bit later on.
Yeah, but if he's parading around as a woman... That's genius. That is how you feed your... Sir, you are a genius.
It's like the Slovene from Doctor Who. Can portray themselves as anything to consume you. Waha. Alright. Until next time, guys, stay spooky.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.